we just hold this moment. Let's not hurry it. This moment is filled with love. Love and support. As we recognize the eternality of every soul, the release into love, we also know the ache in our hearts of letting go. So this moment is so sweet as the choir surrounds, as a community, their Dalton, and they sing with such purity, and that the heart of Diana and the heart of Chris receive that love as a healing balm of our love as a community into theirs, into their hearts, as we bless Lottie this day. As truly a woman of music, only a song can really touch that. So I give thanks. We were privileged to witness this moment, and so it is. So, I know some people say, Sue used to be funny. Sometimes things aren't funny. Sometimes things are real, and sometimes things are just about love in a way that we all open to. So I value your being here today, because we have been on a walk and a journey of finding refuge. And Tara Brach's work and her book, True Refuge, is the journey that we're on. And last week we spoke a little bit about, well, where is refuge? And what is true refuge versus false refuge? So I remind you of that idea that false refuge is when we numb our way, when we refuse to see our way, when we block our way. And we know when we're doing that. And yet, true refuge is when, no matter what's going on, death of a mother, celebrating a birth of a child, we show up with who we are, and we allow ourselves to simply be. And that's the call of the divine. That is the beckoning of the divine. And the path to that idea of presence, the path to that is through meditation. That's why we speak so much about prayer, or affirmative treatment. Prayer is what we talk about it here, with the ideas of identifying with the divine and calling the divine and accepting the divine and having that dialogue and feeling gratitude and then letting go. It is part of our spiritual practice, but right aligned with that is the opportunity for meditation, to reverently listen then, to get out of our own bloated nothingness, to listen, to sit after our prayer, and to close our eyes and to open our heart, and to go into our breathing, and to go into the natural way of the body, and just relax with all there is. It's as easy as that. But gosh, there's volumes of books written on it, and I just bought 2 more as if I didn't have enough. And I still picked another one as I was about to go to bed last night, and I thought, stop it. Just speak what you know. So this is what I know up until now. And this is the invitation as we explore this idea of meditation today. As there's so many different practices out there. Now notice how conflicting these instructions can be. This is from the Beginner's Guide of Meditation. So it's a confusing, exotic, metaphysical mart, where priest, guru, avatar, and master display their meditative wares and whispered down their competitors. The only technique, some say, is to fix your attention upon a single object, a candle, a picture, a cross, a mandala, a third eye. Others will smile condescendingly at such naivety. The secret, as handed from the master, they inform you in hushed tones, is to concentrate upon the mental image of the beloved master. Only they disagree gently whether that master be Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Shakti, engaged in a carnal embrace with Shiva. Such divergent advice, like contrasting perfumes of incense, drift about the religious stalls, repeat aloud continuously a sacred sound, a mantra, no, a prayer. No, don't do it aloud, do it quietly. Repeat silently the sacred sound, the mantra, the prayer, until only the vibration carries through the successive layers of consciousness to God consciousness or to bliss consciousness. Meditate near the ocean. No, meditate ideally by a waterfall. Oh, no, wait. Meditate in silence. Count your breath. No, not your breath. Count your beads. No, don't count your breath or your beads. And it goes on and on. Get a guru, don't get a guru. This was How to Meditate, a Guide to Self-Discovery. But I found his wisdom very entertaining, and the idea behind all of it, and the idea of why we come together in a group. Group consciousness is very powerful, number one. That's why, you can listen to us on a tape or an iPod or a tape. That's how old I am. You can listen to it through other means. You can read a book. You can be by yourself. But in community, as we become conscious of our one mind, holding one thought, the vibration of that field really resonates to a greater idea. This is what transcendental meditation is so popular for, because they have these pods all around the world to this day where they meet and they just meditate on peace, and peace prevails. And the ideas of all of the different forms of meditation, vipassana, simply being mindful, staring at a wall, eyes open, eyes closed, it's all so individualized. It's all up to you. It's really all up to you. What are you comfortable with? Can you remember being a little kid in church and they say, close your eyes, we're going to say a prayer? I'm not going to close my eyes. Somebody's going to be looking at me. As if I'm that important as a little kid on a pew. But it's that idea, that stubbornness. And when we're invited into spiritual practice. So then we mature and we grow in our way. And there's a beautiful part of this book, and I remember when I read this piece, I was quickened. I thought, that's it. That is why we come together. That is our journey. That is why we spend our times in prayer, in contemplation, in reverence. That's why our brain is made for this. And all of the new science today is pointing the way. And I was sharing with somebody after the first service, this idea of oneness, we're all one. And we can sometimes say that, but we're all like, I'm all one except not that group. I'm not a part of that group. You know how we're one? We're one in how our minds all work. We're no better than another. All our minds can take us on a trail of negativity and self-doubt. All our minds. When we all sit here together, you're not the only one that's doubting it. There might be a field of doubt just kind of emerge. But what we do with that? We don't entertain it. We remember, no, wait, I'm a divine being. And that becomes something that bubbles up and we get to watch it free itself and let go. We get to do that. And the more that we allow ourselves to create that vibrational field of letting go, we all become more one in a greater arena. We're one there, and we're also in the same areas of of the humanity and the human suffering. We can find ourselves on common ground there at different times. So he reminds us of this idea, and this is from St. Augustine, who's looking deeply within himself to try to find an intuitive answer about what is his spiritual nature. Do you ever ask yourself that? What is my spiritual nature? What is mine? What's mine? I understand what Jesus was. I understand what they say about Krishna. What's mine? What's my divine spiritual nature? And so St. Augustine says, the personhood of man, therefore, is an inter-involvement of rich intercommunication or dialogue. Man, though he feels lonely, is always in encounter with himself. The more he presses this dialogue of the self, the deeper he goes into the self itself. We must ask the questions. We must sit with the self. Sooner or later, he encounters the totality other within himself. I think Michael Bordeaux and Robin just finished doing the Untethered Soul, great book. If you didn't get to do their book study, a great book to understand this dialogue with the self. There's a radical departure from the sharp cleavage between the subjective and the objective world, which one finds in classical idealism. There's an inner reality which is surely objective to any outer. It starts to get real heady there. But here's his point. Don't go outside yourself. Don't go outside yourself. There's nowhere to go. Return to yourself. Return into yourself. The dwelling place of truth is in the inner man, the inner woman. And if you discover your own nature as subject to change, then go beyond that nature. But remember that when you thus go beyond it, it is the reasoning soul with which you go beyond. Press on, therefore, towards the source. Press on towards the source, which the light of reason itself is kindled. Go beyond. When you think you're there, go beyond. Go beyond and name it in your colors. Name it in your ideas. Something very brilliant about this book also, he points out, and I've entertained this idea and confusion in the past. When somebody says, God is this vibration, God is this color, this, even with chakras, which I'm, totally love to delve into the mystery of chakras and colors and vibrations and wheels and the esoteric science of the whole thing. But remember, they're ideas. And until you experience it yourself, you want to try to experience it yourself to feel that vibration, to feel that truth, then it's yours. But it's not a science. When somebody makes a metaphor of something, not that it has to be all fact, but this idea of the divine is individualized. And it's a calling that is ingrained inside of our brain. Why? That's why we're here, because there's some urging of the soul. There's some calling of the soul. And we start with a religious journey. We start with a religious path, perhaps. And the beauty of this teaching is that it supports you on that path and asks you to see more. Look deeper into this fabulous, intelligent wisdom of the brain. And to realize within that is this aspect of divine truth, this quality of divine knowing. And he continues to share these ideas, this revelation, to know that the consciousness that we seek, this divine consciousness, it's a mystery. Why? Because you have to discover it only yourself. It's based that the mind of man is not only able to be aware of a cosmic knowledge, but also that in some mysterious way there seems to be a cosmic initiative seeking to make itself known in man. It's calling us, it's longing, this divine juice is calling us. The mystics have engaged in such a way that they add metaphor because becomes the unexplainable. And it's so exciting, and we just revel in that, and we want that, so then we start seeking just that. But the invitation today and the journey that we go on today together is one where we put into practice this idea so that we can honor this silent journey, this silent quality that beckons us to discover that aspect of our brain, which is connected to the mind, but the mind is greater than just the brain. It's connected to the heart. So this field of spirit and divine knowing merge in the heart space. And as we open physically to that vibration, that's why so many practices begin inviting you to just count the breath. Ho-hum, in, out. Ho-hum. And you realize, wait a minute, I am counting my breath, and my mind just wandered. It's really hard. Put a timer on for 2 minutes to count your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Before you know it, you've completed 2 cycles. That's all. And it's a minute, it's only been 3 seconds. Because your mind just starts to wander. It wants something to entertain it. That's the nature of the brain. And the nature of our brain is to continue to fire on what has been a memory of the past, and we fire all around that. I was sharing with Cher today, when we receive a compliment, we say, thank you very much, and we dwell in it for a little bit longer, not to get all egotistical, but to really fill that part of our brain, to get the juices, the firing quality of all of the neurons in that area to say, yes, I am that, instead of, I'm so unworthy. Because the brain will automatically go to the negative, go to the negative, go to the negative. And no matter how hard we try, go to the negative. Our work is to plant new seeds, as Thich Nhat Hanh says, to dig in the soil of our consciousness, dig it up. Uproot some of the most miserable thoughts. Uproot them. No more. No more. I'm done with that one. And then another situation kind of stirs you and you're familiar with it. You're going, it's back, that dang dandelion, and you pull it up again. And then you just realize pretty soon, as you keep pulling them up, their energy disappears. And all you have are the flowers of good that you planted around that. All of the affirmations, all of the countings of your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. I am love, I am love, I am grace. You plant these seeds, you fill the soil of your mind with all of this wonder, and you allow it to transform yourself in that deep place of silence. Now, oftentimes when we sit down to meditate, what comes up are worries. What comes up are issues that we haven't quite become settled with. I know Charlie read the message about Lottie's passing at 11 at night. He read your email, Chris, and he shares it with me. So what do I start doing but thinking about my mom's dying? And then I thought, now we're all in that place. But I had empathy too. It was a field to dwell in, to sit in for a while. But with that, then you offer prayer. Then you say, this is all love. This is all what life is about. So we're on this journey. Not worry. This is our journey. And I'm planting new seeds along the way. Now, when the practice of Vipassana, Laurie Massengale just went through a week long of this Vipassana practice. And it can get kind of edgy because you're just like, here, be with yourself, right? Sometimes they do a lot of other practices in that, but you're with yourself. And it's to get you to get clearly one-pointed concentration, to focus your attention. And oftentimes, in some of the practices of Vipassana I've done, there's been an anchor that they give you, something to get centered, something to get quiet with, so you return again and again to that truth, to that holy way. And so it's been described in Tara's book about meditation is like you focus on the hub of the wheel, and all the spokes are the way our thoughts just kind of go. And you can follow to the rim, or you can pull back to the hub. And we're going to do a little bit of a practice with this in a short time. And in that meditation, I invite you to ask your heart what really matters. If you need to have a dialogue, then ask your heart what really matters. What is your aspiration? What is your truth? And recognize that you don't judge anything that unfolds. This is all done with just gentle grace. And you sit asking the question. It can be an inquiry, a contemplation. It can be counting the breath. And as I've shared before, Thich Nhat Hanh says, don't make it hard. Smile and relax your true nature. The Dalai Lama says to bring back to others after you've meditated and tell them that they can trust their heart. If they need to know anything about your spiritual journey, trust your heart. Trust what you feel. Trust what you feel. Follow your heart and trust what you feel. And an awareness is awakened in the midst of all circumstances. So why do we meditate? We meditate to recover, to come back, to access our true potential, to be closer to the divine, to increase that sense of love or zest, enthusiasm for life, to know oneness, to really get an idea, what are they talking about? I want to no longer feel separated. I want to belong. I want to belong to something greater than my small self. And so we look at this in times of stress, and we try to find our moments of wholeness again within that. And when you feel at home, you're at ease with all things. So in the Buddha's brain, the practical neuroscience of the Buddha's brain, they speak about this in a more scientific way, because we can speak in the beautiful calling of, gosh, it's going to feel good, and all the romance around deep meditation, the sense of comfort and refuge there. But ideally as well, our body is made for this. We have a part of our nervous system, the parasympathetic part of our nervous system. It's triggered and it calms you down. We have the other one, the sympathetic part, that makes us run and get away from stress. And it's what they call type A personalities, always doing, push. The edge, the edge, the edge in which we push ourselves to. And so they work together, because sometimes we need to get moving, and that sympathetic nervous system helps us do that. Raises our blood pressure, does all kinds of things. But then to calm it down, there's techniques. The breathing, the deep breathing. Why do we do that? Why is that included in meditation? It calms the parasympathetic down. Your heart rate, your respirations, your blood pressure, your thoughts. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Slowing down, deeper, deeper. I am on the journey to my true self. There's ways that they say you can just do the tactile experience of rubbing your lips to calm that nervous system down, to feel tension. The invitation is to continually look inside. Claire could testify to this in the practice of yoga, and Chris Netto can talk about it in Tai Chi. Everything is slowed down because we want you to feel the movement within the movement, to slow down, to touch, and to scan the body and to feel. When you're doing all of these things, breathing in, breathing out, you are building those neural pathways. And at the same time, unfortunately, you're touching the roots of your suffering. Oh, you mean it's not wrong to go there? The roots of your suffering must be revealed in order to heal. So you direct, when you feel those moments, you direct the positive glow of your mind to reshape those pathways, to allow it to stop that seed from growing. That's just another way. Instead of watering it, the antidote is to pluck that seed and water it all around with positive flow to soothe that suffering and to remind yourself who you truly are. Because the bias of the brain, remember, is towards the negative. It just is. So you're not wrong when it happens. But stay longer, at least 10, 15, 20 seconds longer in the moments of praise, and allow these neurons to fire and wire around that. So why do I like that science? Because it makes sense to me. It makes sense to, as we put together all of the ideas of the ancient sages, they are telling us in metaphor, this is how it is. And science now says, this is how it is. And we see the blend of the two. And we put it together, and our whole chest warms up with a knowing that we're doing good work. Right, Maggie? We're doing good work, and we can't come down. The idea is to allow yourself to feel and to emotionally allow that to stimulate those neurons to fire and wire together. So think about all of the good juices that come from this practice of being with your heart: compassion and empathy, grace and love, forgiveness, deep understanding, not accepting another's way as having to be your way, not that, neti, as the Buddhists say, not that, not this, not that, neti. No, to find where you are and what you feel and what is your truth. Because our brain, knowing that it's going to color an experience, we need to, and I paint it with a tone, a color that allows us to have a greater experience. Now, there was many ideas of meditation, walking, Tai Chi, and yoga, some of the physical active ones. There's painting as an engagement, crocheting, knitting. These different things can be a meditation in itself. And those are beautiful. And sometimes we think, oh, but that comes so easy to me. Good. Stay with that. Enjoy that. Grow with that. Dive deep into that and feel what you feel, and keep going to that place in the brain that is opening into you, this idea of this greater light. Now, there's another form, Zen koans. Now, those have always those make me itch. I don't get it, and I kind of get agitated. And he says in here, this Zen teacher stated that a practitioner of this style works on it long enough, becomes like a person trying to remember something you forgot. And I thought, no wonder I don't like it. I hate when I forget something and I can't remember it. When somebody goes, what's the name of it? And I'm like, oh, it's right there. And then they're off and doing something, and in the middle of the night you're going, oh. And if Zen koans are like that, I don't want anything to do with them. But that's my prejudice. Please don't accept it. But the invitation, what is personal to you? What is going to be your practice to decrease anxiety? Really, to decrease the anxiety. This is our human nature. We live in humanity, but there is a divinity. There is a divinity of love and grace and power and beauty that is calling us. And yes, when you go into your feelings, you're more vulnerable, but you're also getting stronger, because you're efficiently using the brain to find a new way. If you allow yourself just to stay swimming around in your lower consciousness and sameness all the time, then we never really develop that access to the higher consciousness that is promised to us. Ramakrishna said, living in the human way is oftentimes in that lower consciousness. We're just like the tadpole staying in the water, and then the tadpole loses his tail of ignorance and hops out on land, which is higher consciousness. And I love that image, because then the frog can live in the water and in the air into that higher consciousness. It makes me have much less squeamishness when I go to catch that frog away from the cats when they get in the house. Oh, you blessed creature, you don't have an ignorant tail. Out you go. It's just, this is the way the great mystics spoke to us, to invite us to allow our life to be a fusion of action and divine knowing. So let's practice a style that I haven't done it yet, so I'm going to do it with you. And it has to do with a lotus flower. So the invitation Judy, please play the music to help us stay focused. See, music is such a beautiful tool. I want you to shift your body. You could be sitting here, legs crossed, but I'm comfortable. I don't have to shift. When we're about to meet anything holy, which is what we're doing, we want to have our posture and all of the conduits of every nerve in our body. I am open. I am open, and in this moment, eyes open, eyes closed. Where am I comfortable? I am that, and I close my eyes or I open my eyes, but I feel where my tension is in my body. And I lay down my burden. I let it drain out through me. And I scan again. What remains? I am letting go. I open my hands to the flow, and I pick up a current, a sense. Is this love flowing through me, as me, out me, towards me? What is this? And I breathe, and I drop from the thinking brain to the brain of the heart, to the mind of the heart. And I breathe in and I breathe out. Yeah, right there. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. I am breathing in and I'm breathing out. And at the center, at the altar of my heart, as I calm the restlessness of my nature, I visualize the most beautiful 1,000-petaled lotus flower. Oh, right there at the altar of my heart. In the very center, I place my love. I place my word for a sense of a safe harbor, my anchor, my truth, my word, my word. I place it right there, breathing in, breathing out. I see this word transforming. Another thought associates, just comes into my mind. I place that word in a petal coming out of the center. And I come back to the center. And another word. I place it on a petal. And I come back to my center. Breathing in, breathing out. I am looking into truth. That was my word. I am looking deeply into truth. What is my holy way? Honesty. Oh, here, betrayal shows up. I don't trail a story around it. I just see. Back to truth. Love. Back to truth. My lotus grows as my consciousness dwells on a truth at the altar of my heart. I let go, knowing that there is a root to this lotus that moves towards the mud of life for its nourishment, for its beauty. It transforms all that is from those petals, going down to the roots. Rise up and glorify this center of who I am. I am that. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. I am the lotus. I am the truth. And I am listening. As no longer words drop my way, but silence overcomes me. And the divine is beckoning me with love. Come closer, come closer, come closer to the light, to the glory, to the truth, to love. Let go. Let go. And be that. Be that. Feel it. You're meditating. And we take a breath together. And we allow our room to be filled with hundreds of lotus flowers and radiate peace. As we allow our meditation now to reveal an action. What do I do with this open, tender heart? What do I do? I offer it as a prayer of peace. I offer it to those that are suffering, to those that are hungry, to those that are homeless, to those that have all that they need. I offer peace. I come back to myself and I drop into my heart again and I almost weep. Almost. But there's so much joy in this spiritual journey together. We are indeed one. That's all there is. So be it. And so it is.